I'll say, okay, so I want you to go ahead and engage in a conversation that you've had at home that you've really struggled with, and just kind of talk through it. And if at any point your partner says something to you with a facial gesture or a word or whatever that pushes you further away, I want you to push your chair back according to the amount that it pushes you back emotionally. And if they say or do something that actually pulls you closer, I want you to pull your chair forward to the amount that actually draws you in. And I said, and so your single goal in this actual conversation is to get knee to knee, which is really interesting, right? So they start bypassing some of the things they normally do because they notice, they start catching things that they do they didn't realize pushes their partner away. And so, and it's really surprising, right? Like they'll be sitting there and all of a sudden the partner will just scoot back and they're like, what the heck, what did I do? And then we pause and we say, okay, so talk to him about what is it that he just did that moved you back? Well, when you sat there and you kind of rolled your eyes, and you looked away or you didn't answer, it pushed me back. And we say, so is this a common part of your dance? Yeah, it's a common part of my dance. You know, when he rolls his eyes, okay, got it. And so then, or then when they do something, they scoot up and they're like, huh, what did I do? And they're like, well, you know what? You kept eye contact with me, you didn't. So they begin to discover and to be attuned to the nonverbal and the verbal components of the nuances of being a sensitive and tuned enough attachment figure to be able to negotiate this distance in the relationship. You know, so the idea is that they would be able to repair and come back, and that they're paying more attention to distance than they are to winning. Right? Winning the argument, winning, getting their point across, convincing the other person to agree with them, which are all things that they get caught up in. And so if they negotiate, if they're aware of distance and they're always concentrated on distance and what can I do to get closer, then what they're actually arguing about will take care of itself. Because once they're here, like they're close like this, once they're here, then they can bring back up the topic and they have positive sentiment override, right? And they're viewing it differently, they're giving each other the benefit of the doubt. When they're close versus when they're far apart, the exact same content is being negotiated differently because, right, they are underneath the content as they're negotiating distance. And so it teaches them that the first goal is to decrease distance. And then that everything else is sacrificed for that goal first. And then so how people get stuck, but they don't understand me. I say, yeah, I get it, right? But if you keep arguing, you're gonna keep pushing her further back. Like, okay, all right. And they'll dive back in and they'll do something to kind of pull them forward. So they begin to learn how to do this. So I had a couple do this, is so hilarious. So I had a couple do this, they come back in and they go, one evening we spent 4 hours in the chairs. And they said, we actually got so far apart that we have these rooms that you can see each other through, and we were 3 rooms apart from each other at one point in our conversation, and after 4 hours we were knee to knee. And we just worked it, we stayed in it, and we worked it, and we're like, oh, we take a break, and then we get back on our chairs, and then we just keep working it. So finally they found their way back. And what's interesting is usually when they come back to therapy, I help them find their way back. And so they actually struggle to find their way back and to lower the distance between the two, which really has a lot of attachment significance, right? About responsiveness and accessibility and sacrificing yourself and paying attention to
awareness.
Awareness.
With the others, what's hurting the other that they may not even know about.
Right.
That's
You may have no idea that what I do pushes you away. Right? So it's all these little clues, and they have to talk about it. Like, when I scoot back, this is what happened. We move forward. And usually when I get them knee to knee in session, it's like awesome time for them, right? They feel empowered that we can actually do this. We can actually pull ourselves closer. We've always felt like we were just pushing each other away. And so there's things that I can actually do. I do affect her. She does affect me. And we can actually move. We're not just pushing each other away. So part of the reason, one of the ways to make this work is you have to have an office big enough to do this. Because I have them pinned up against the walls. They can't go back any further. And it's like, okay, I gotta get a bigger office. Or so they have to have some room to move around, you know. And sometimes they start really far back. And I'm thinking, gosh, they better not make any mistakes because there's not much room left for them to go. Or I'll prompt them to do something to move each other, to get them going, to move each other closer.
You do it twice.
That's true, you could. That'd be good, yeah. So, make sense to your question about that? Al, what do you got?
Not just
Yes.
like we're at in you're using EFT, where would you like do some kind of
What stage?
That's a really good question. I feel like I've always used it kind of randomly. Like, I was like,
Give me these.
I know what I'd use, it was like, I was tired that day, and I said, let's do an activity. That's the honest truth, probably. It's like, I don't have time to process, I'm in a task meeting. Everyone, get in chairs.
That's the back part.
It's time for you to work.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's just a way to mix it up.
Right.
So if I feel like we've been doing the same thing over and over again, I just want to mix things up and kind of get something for them to build off, or give them a skill, let them try something out in session, bring up other things. I'll throw it in the mix, but there's really probably no intentionality around when I use it. Might have more to do with
Good
me.
answer. Honest.
Yeah. So at least I'm choosing something that could be effective
Yeah.
and not being random about that. So it matches what I'm doing within the therapy, do an activity like that. So.
Could do it as a reframe on the bottom of stage one, when they're trying to understand what their soft needs and hard needs are. But I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably right. Even in step 7, you could do it. But I think it's good for them to realize, like when they're complaining about a 2-minute sensitivity, that they can see themselves struggling and how to push each other away.
You know you're really good when you can make anything, like you can go through the back door and get your way of doing any crazy intervention.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. So maybe you can use that. It's nice to have little things to plug in there, right? Because the actual grind of the doing the attachment-oriented EFT work, whatever you choose, can be really exhausting. So it's nice every once in a while to have something to throw out and